Look at this guy. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. So last week I had the chance to plan a trip to London with my dad, and I asked myself, if I just had 24 hours to make the most out of it as a guitar enthusiast in London, what will I do? And this question is because every time I've been to London, like hundreds of times, I've always been with my girlfriend, with my family, with my friends. So it has been always very difficult to me to just get some spare time to spend in the places I really wanted to visit. But this time I've been lucky enough to be with my father, which is a music nerd and guitar geek too. So we finally had the chance to see whatever we want. So here we are, 24 hours in London. This is what I would suggest to do. First and foremost, we booked a budget-friendly hotel in King's Cross, which is probably one of the most logistically convenient area in London. Definitely not the cheapest one, but let's be honest, nothing is really cheap in London. So I'd rather prefer to be in a cheap place, very well connected, rather than being in a fancy hotel far away somewhere that would force me to spend half of my time traveling on the tube or with other transports. So why did we choose King's Cross? For three reasons mainly. First of all, because it's very well connected. Almost all the tube lines pass through the King's Cross station, whether you're going to the tube or you're taking some train for somewhere else, so it's very well connected. Second reason, it's in a central position, so it's not far from anything you might like to visit. And last but not least, it's a very nice area by itself, surrounded by shops and pubs. So everything you might need on the fly, it's already there. So starting off, as we woke up, we went straight to Camden Town, which was just one or maybe two tube stop distance from King's Cross. So once again, very close, very convenient. And it's an area of London that I highly suggest to visit if you haven't been there yet, because it's so cool. Camden Town is a very iconic area of the city, well known for its lively and alternative look. Colors, music, tiny shops, markets, everything art related, it's over there. It surely has become a bit too touristic in the last decade, to be honest, but still keeps its rebel spirit and fashion. I will suggest you visit, whether for a walk in the Camden Lock, full of shops and food of every genre, or maybe for a night concert in one of those many different clubs that covers all genre and size, from the big venues to the small underground stages. We went there straight in the morning for a quick visit, because we already know the place pretty well, just to check it off the list before heading into the place. We really knew we were about to spend a lot of time. Denmark Street is one of those places every guitar player should know about. In case you've never heard about that, it's the paradise of guitarists. It's an entire road packed with historical music stores. And when I say historical, I really mean it. Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, Black Sabbath, Rolling Stones, you name it. Hundreds of bands and great artists, hundreds of legends basically, have walked that very same road to buy their first instrument, and this is amazing. The same stores we have the privilege to visit nowadays have been theater in the past, of endless conversation in between legends and artists and bands and producers, exchanging information about their craft, their music, their ideas, and this is so fascinating to me. So before we dive deep, I just want to let you know that what you're about to see are just some of the stores that you can find in Denmark Street. There are many others. I just suggest you to go there and visit as many as possible. I just don't want to bother you to death because there are so many. So let's see just the ones that really got my attention. Rose Morris is the first one we stumbled in, and it's a Taylor reseller. Probably the most amount of Taylor guitars I've ever seen in my entire life, hanging on the same wall. Basically, they have the whole catalog, ranging from the cheapest model up to the most expensive, and also some vintage one, if I might say vintage, because at the end of the day, Taylor, it's a 50 years old brand, so it's not that old, but can you imagine how influential has it been in the music market in just 50 years? Little mention, a little flex goes for this Taylor 324 CE LTD blacktop, which I love, and guess what? It's over here with me, which is this beautiful guitar. Look at the finishes, so cool. I know, it's a bit of a flex, but I'm very happy that I have this guitar in my hand, so can you blame me for that? Moving on, we went to Notum, and things get interesting in here. From the moment you step into this shop, you get immediately the vibe. This place screams UK from every pore of the hood, the furniture, the hairstyle of the store employees. It's just too cool, and it feels like being in a pub that sells guitar instead of pints. Density is the first word that comes to my mind, as I've never seen so many guitars squeezed in such a tiny space. Here you can find anything hanging on the wall. Cheap guitars side by side with a 40,000 pounds original vintage Strat. And fun fact, if you ask for it, they will let you try them both. Let's be honest, how many other times will it happen that I have the chance to put my hands on a 40,000 original vintage Strat? This is crazy. And I did it. Pretty stoked about this experience. It's time to move on to another store. Wunjo. I hope I pronounced it correctly, which I'm not sure about. As I step in, once again, density. Tons of beautiful Gretsch guitars right in front of the entrance, some second-hand classics from Fender and Gibson, alongside with some new models, mandolins, dobros, acoustic guitars of many different brands, and a luthier station managed by this guy, which has been extremely nice and chatty, which is quite remarkable considering the amount of people that will stress him on a daily basis. It's now time for Regent Sound Studios, and with all the respect to the other stores, this place was worth the travel all by itself. Not just for the four walls fully covered in guitars, but for what it represents. And this other room have been written and recorded some of the masterpieces which are still very relevant and influential to these days. Some of the roots of British rock music were born over there. Black Sabbath, Rolling Stones, they both recorded their first albums over there. We had Jimmy Page working as a session guy because, fun story, he was one of the most precise guitar player back in the days. So tape was very expensive, he was very fast in recording, he got everything almost in the first take, so it was very easy to work with him. So he was working a lot in that studio. This guy we met has been so nice with us. He allowed us to get in, have a little tour, and told us a lot of fun stories and a lot of fun behind the scenes of those days. Let's hear a couple of those.
Some of these photos are actually taken in here. So that's the back of Mick Jagger's head. That's him stood about where you are actually.
Wow.
And Jimi Hendrix, that's in here. And I think some of the Stones pictures are in here as well.
Well, even just walking in the side of the same room.
You fit it.
Yeah, you feel the vibe.
Feel,
Yeah, I just
feel
feel
a little bit magic.
Look at this guy.
So he did the first album session, he was barefoot, Ozzy Osbourne, and he actually chased off some skinheads with an axe and no shoes on. It's a great story. I wish I was there for it.
Thank you.
Jimmy Page there.
Yeah, so he was obviously a session player, so he played here a lot.
He was a session man.
Exactly.
Because, he didn't make a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, John Paul Jones came in one day and told us this is where he met Jimmy Page. This was the first time they played together, and he said that was on the Herman's Hermits record. Yeah, I was lucky enough to meet Jimmy Page, and we asked him to confirm that. And he said at first he was like, "No, I wouldn't be seen dead on Herman's Hermits," and then he was like, "Actually, no, maybe I was." He doesn't really remember. Exactly. They say about the '60s. If you remember the '60s, you weren't there.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Questa è storia proprio.
Hanno registrato qua.
Vedi, questa è una cosa che sono contento che sia riusciti a fare insieme.
No, che bello.
So I don't know what you think about that, but for me it has been a kind of a life-changing experience. It's one of those things I will never forget. And I was so happy I had the chance to do this experience with my father, which was enthusiast too, because first of all, it's a very nice father and son experience. And beside that, it's just a whole vibe to be in the very same place where some of the records I still listen to these days has been recorded. So let me know if you have been there. Let me know what you felt if you've been there. And if you haven't, just go there if you have the chance. Still completely flattered by this experience, we moved on to the next stop, Hank. And if I thought I'd just seen it all, I was completely wrong. This place is basically a 3-floor guitar catalog where you can find literally everything you're looking for. There's a massive variety of guitars ranging from the affordable ones, passing by the mid-price instruments, up to the custom shops, or even the vintage boutique pieces around 30 or 40,000 pounds. And yes, all in the same store. This is one of those very rare places when a customer can get in and get out with an instrument that suits his needing and his wallet. most importantly. As I mentioned before, guys, those were just 3 stores, but you can find many others in Denmark Street. I just suggest you to visit because there are tons of different possibilities and there are a lot of the guitars that I might found less interesting, but you could find more interesting for yourself. So just go there and dive deep. There's tons of things to see. Quick mention for Rough Trade, which is a vinyl store, which is always, of course, in Denmark Street. It might surprise you because they do have a wide selection and some of the things that you find over there probably are very difficult to find somewhere else. So go and check it out. So before we move to the next highlight of the day, it's almost 2:30 p.m. We're very hungry, we're thirsty, and it's time for a quick lunch and a couple of pints. What better place than a traditional English pub? Yeah, I mean, guitars are great, but nothing beats a couple of Guinness. So it's now time to move to the next highlight of the day. And of course you heard about that. If you're a guitar player, you know what I'm talking about. There is a new place to visit in town since a couple of years, and it's the Gibson Garage. So where do I start? From the moment you step into the Gibson Garage, you understand immediately that you're experiencing something very special. It's a kind of a humongous showroom built around the Gibson brand, and it's very nice. Even if you're not a guitar player or even if you're not a musician, it's a very nice place to visit just for the sake of it. It's nice because you can see all the variables in all the models of every single Gibson piece that has been built throughout the years. The custom shop and the Murphy Lab section, which is probably the nirvana for guitar players and the Gibson enthusiasts, where you can find all the hoods, because in a hypothetical scenario you could actually ask to build your own Gibson, starting off from the wood of the body, from the wood of the neck and the fingerboard. You can choose your electronics, you can choose all the little details, also the bridge, the finish. It's so nice to be able to experience the whole building process of a guitar, all the single parts before them being assembled into the future instrument that you will be able to play. And one other thing that I care about mentioning regarding the Gibson Garage is that it doesn't matter which guitar you saw. If you ask to one of the employees to try it out, they will let you try it out. And you can literally play every single guitar that is hanging on the wall, whether it's a very cheap one, there are not many cheap ones over there, but whether it's a entry-level one, let's say, or a super expensive Murphy Lab Greenie Les Paul. For example, me and my dad, we spent like, let's say 45 minutes trying those two different acoustic J42 and J45. I might get wrong with the names, and yeah, nobody put any pressure on us. Sometimes the employees were coming to us just to double check if there was anything that we wanted to point out, or maybe if we had some questions. So overall, a great experience. Never felt any type of, let's say, awkward in asking maybe to try something very expensive. So they've been very nice to us, and has been an overall great experience. So it's 4:30 and we have to decide what to do for the next few hours of the day. And we just checked online and we saw that at the Ronnie Scott there was a show at 5:30. So that's where we decided to go. Ronnie Scott Jazz Club, it's an iconic place. We never had the chance to go, so me and my father, we were both super happy about that. Such a place that needs no introduction. If you've never heard about that, make sure you Google it out to find out how many legends of the jazz, blues, funk, fusion, all the geeky music genre have played over there, because it's such an iconic stage. And despite the music, even just the furniture, the vibe, the whole atmosphere inside of that club, it's amazing. Feels like time traveling. Can't recommend it enough to visit, because yeah, it's really worth it in my opinion. To be honest, we didn't even know which band was about to play over there, but high quality music, it's what you can expect from a place like that. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to record from the moment the music starts, because it's you're not allowed to take any footage from the performance, which I have to be honest, I did for a little part before they told me. So the only thing that I can show you, it's this little clip. I forgot to mention you can also dine in there. Was not our case because we just had lunch a few hours before. There are two shows usually. The first one it's at 5:30 and the second one it's at 8:30, so whether you go there for the late afternoon or for the evening show, you can also have dinner and drinks, of course. One thing I forgot to mention is that all those places, we were able to reach them by walking distance because, yeah, maybe it was like 20-25 minutes, but it was a sunny day, so it was fine. Particularly Ronnie Scott Jazz Club, it's located in Soho, which is a very, very nice place. So even if you're just there browsing for music-related places, it will be nice either way to walk this area. Also, it's very close to Carnaby Street, so if you have any spare time because you're waiting maybe from a show to another, or you just finished lunch and you're waiting for a show time and you want to have a walk, all these places are very, very nice. And overall, I suggest to walk as much as you can because it's a nice city. You never know what you can encounter, what you can see. It's a city full of buskers and musicians, so it's not difficult to stumble across a very talented singer or guitar player, or maybe something very unique and funny, like, for example, this guy. So it's 8:30 when we got out. Yes, we got in at 5:30, but we had to wait 1 hour before the show started. So once we got out, it was 8:30, and considering the timetable of London, especially on Tuesday night, 8:30 tends to be quite late. But there is just one last place we wanted to visit before heading back to the hotel, and it was Ain't Nothing But the Blues. Ain't Nothing But the Blues, it's a super, super cute and very unique blues bar that it's always in Soho, 5 minutes walking distance from the Ronnie Scott Jazz Club. And what to say, I've already been there a couple of times and they never let me down, and neither this time did. It's a very special underground blues bar and the vibe is great. People are very engaged. There is always a local blues band or maybe some jam session going on over there. Something special happens, you have some special guest that hops in on stage and it wasn't prepared and unscheduled, and it turns out in a very nice night. Even this time when we went, there was a very cool local blues band. I would lie if I tell you that I remember the name, but it doesn't matter. The whole atmosphere was great. We had the last pint before going back to the hotel, and it was an overall amazing day. So yep, that sums it up pretty well. This is what I would recommend you to do in those 24 hours to make the most out of it as a music enthusiast in the city of London. But let me know what you think, guys. Am I missing something? At the end of the day, this video, it's just to share my experience and hopefully get some good advice from your side, because it's pretty easy in a city like London to miss out something very cool. So please use this comment section to write down everything you highly suggest me to do the next time I go over there. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found this video entertaining. I hope you'll consider subscribing to this channel, leaving a comment, thumbs up, or anything that can help this channel to grow, because at the end of the day, I'm just getting started. I don't really know how these things works, but yeah, I'm just having fun doing these things, and I hope you guys are having fun too watching these videos. So welcome once again to How the Music. See you at the next video. Cheers.